Alan Hrub was a freshman at the University of Oklahoma in 2014, and he shocked everyone when he committed a terrible, terrible crime. On a Friday, he tragically ended the lives of his own family, and the next day, as though nothing had happened, he drove to Dallas to attend the OU Texas football game with friends. This is when it gets creepy. He stayed in a hotel and even posted a photo on Instagram, possibly trying to create an alibi. However, his attempt to cover up his actions didn't last too long. Hrub quickly confessed and received multiple life sentences for his shocking actions. It's hard to imagine how his friends and those in that hotel room must have felt when they found out the truth afterwards, realizing they had unknowingly spent time with someone hiding such a dark secret. Number 9. Sydney Loofe. Sydney Loofe's story is a haunting example of how seemingly normal online interactions can take a dark turn. Never trust Tinder, folks. In 2017, Sydney, at age 24, began chatting with someone she thought was named Audrey on Tinder. Now, Audrey, however, was actually Bailey Boswell, a 25-year-old woman with a sinister secret. After their first date, Sydney agreed to a second, not knowing that Boswell was living with her 52-year-old boyfriend, Aubrey Trail. Now, tragically, Sydney lost her life that night. Aubrey Trail was a lifelong con man with a disturbing agenda, aimed to create a twisted cult of women who would serve him in exchange for so-called powers. Both Trail and Boswell spoke to their other followers about their desire to take somebody's life after lying to them. How twisted is that? It was part of this dark fantasy. They even planned to record these twisted acts and then sell it for $1 million. Sydney unfortunately became a victim of this horrific plot. Number 8. The Bluebelle Tragedy. The Bluebelle Tragedy is one of the most incredible survival stories at sea. In 1961, a family of 5 chartered the small yacht for a holiday cruise in the Bahamas, captained by Julian Harvey. However, during the trip, Harvey suddenly took out the entire family and sabotaged the ship, attempting to stage it as an accident in order to claim insurance money. However, unbeknownst to Harvey, one person survived. That person was 11-year-old Terry Jo Duperrault. Now, after the attack, she escaped onto a small cork raft and spent 4 days drifting in the open ocean, exposed to the elements with no food or water. Miraculously, a Greek freighter spotted her and thankfully rescued her at sea. Terry Jo's incredible resilience and will to survive made her a symbol of hope amid this unimaginable tragedy. Number 7. Bruce McArthur. Now, at first glance, this man may seem like your average friendly mall Santa. Bruce McArthur, he was all but that. Bruce was a Toronto landscaper who shockingly led a double life as one of Canada's most notorious serial killers. Now, before his dark crimes came to light, McArthur, believe it or not, was well known in his community, especially playing the role of a friendly mall Santa in Scarborough during the holiday seasons. For years, no one suspected that this jovial Santa Claus, known for his warm demeanor in all of our family photos, was hiding a horrifying secret. Between 2010 and 2017, McArthur targeted vulnerable men in Toronto's LGBTQ+ community, committing a series of terrible crimes while leading on an ordinary life on the surface. His work as a landscaper allowed him to conceal his crimes until police discovered evidence linking him to several missing person cases over the years. Now, the revelation of his crimes left many shocked, as it contrasted starkly with his public Santa Claus persona. Now, as a kid who grew up in Scarborough and Oshawa, this one left me feeling very uneasy. I have many photos with many mall Santas in that area, so tonight I'm gonna go take a look and hopefully not see him. That would be nice. That'd be a nice, joyous holiday surprise, seeing that man and me sitting on his lap. Yuck. Number 6, the last hike. In 2015, 17-year-old Dalen Pua Kaloa went missing during a hike on the infamous Haiku Stairs, also known as the Stairway to Heaven. On the morning of February 27th, Pua told his family that he planned to hike this dangerous and illegal trail. Now, throughout the hike, he sent several photos to his family, but in one image, they noticed something very strange. An unidentified man was lurking in the background behind some bushes. Now, Pua sadly never returned, and despite extensive searches, he was never ever found. Now his family is seeking the public's help to identify this man in the photo, believing of course that he might hold vital information that could lead to Pua's whereabouts. This haunting mystery does remain unsolved, leaving many to wonder, could this unidentified man provide the key to uncovering what happened that day? Is he responsible? Many questions sadly unanswered. Number 5, Niagara Falls. It was a sunny afternoon at Niagara Falls, a picturesque backdrop where tourists gather to capture memories. I've been there many a times. It's a lovely, breathtaking view. Now, among them was Ayano Tokamasu, a spirited adventurer that we can see in this photo wearing a striking red sweater. Now, as she leaned in for a perfect photo, tragedy struck right after the camera was clicked. In an instant, she lost her footing and plunged into the waters below, becoming part of a startling statistic. Each year, an average of 20 people fall into the mighty Niagara Falls, drawn of course by the allure of its beauty, but often unaware of its hidden dangers. So while many survive the initial plunge, it's the sheer power of the falls and the currents that follow that can be quite unforgiving. Ayano's story serves as a sobering reminder of nature's majesty and the risks that come with it. Don't get too close. Number 4, Mount St Helens. On May 18, 1980, David A. Johnston, who was a dedicated volcanologist, stood over to watch Mount St Helens, aware of the growing signs of unrest. 13 hours before the devastating eruption, he made his last transmission ever over the radio. Quote, "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it." End quote. Those haunting words echoed into silence as the volcano did erupt, sending ash and destruction all across the landscape. Now, despite extensive search efforts, David's remains were sadly never found, leaving behind a chilling reminder of nature's unpredictable power and the sacrifices made, all in the name of science. Number 3, Uruguay rugby team. In 1972, a plane carrying a Uruguayan rugby team and their families tragically crashed in the remote Andes Mountains. So, stranded in the harsh winter conditions, they faced an unimaginable ordeal. As days turned into weeks, survival became their only goal. With dwindling supplies and no hope of rescue, the survivors were forced to make an agonizing decision. Dead passengers, no food around. You can probably put this one together. Their harrowing story, chronicled in the book titled Alive, explores the depths of human desperation and the will to survive against all odds. Now, upon returning to civilization, some faced harsh judgment, labeled as monsters for their choices that they made. Now, their experiences challenge our understanding of morality in these life or death situations. So we have to ask you, what would you do if you were in their place? Comment down below. Tyler Hadley's story takes a chilling turn on a seemingly ordinary night in July 2011. While hosting a lively house party in Port St. Lucie, Florida, Tyler was seen holding a red Solo cup and enjoying time with friends. Now, this photo, very casual at first glance. However, unbeknownst to his guests, a dark secret lurked within that home. See, Tyler had just created a tragic act against his parents, Blake and Mary Jo Headley, earlier that evening. Their absence created a somber backdrop to all these festivities, casting a shadow over this celebration. So as the night went on, the contrast between this lively atmosphere and the hidden tragedy left the community in shock. What could have driven Tyler to such a heartbreaking decision? What if you were at that party? How would you feel if you discovered all this afterwards? Finally, number 1, the Titanic Violin. This $1.5 million violin isn't famous for its craftsmanship, but for its connection to one of history's greatest tragedies, the sinking of the Titanic. This violin belonged to Wallace Hartley, the band leader who famously played as the ship went down in 1912. On April 14th, the Titanic struck an iceberg during its maiden voyage, and as chaos ensued, Hartley and his band played music in order to calm the passengers. We've seen this in the movie, and yes, it is true, that did happen. Survivors recalled hearing hymns like "Nearer, My God, to Thee" in their final moments. Though Hartley perished, his violin was found floating in the debris. Today it stands as a haunting symbol of bravery and grace amidst a horrible disaster. And those were 10 seemingly normal images with disturbing backstories. Which ones did we miss? Which ones online have you Which photos have you seen that have keeping you awake? Comment down below, put all the links. I want to see all the bad stuff. And until next time, I'm Taylor McWaters, and we'll see you on Bumblebee. Bye. Disaster. We're done, boys. That's it. The title, can we go back to the title real quick? I'm gonna wrap this up. And those were 10 seemingly normal images with disturbing backstories.